Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, has called Tuesday's assassination of a senior Hamas official flagrant Israeli aggression on Beirut. Saleh al-Arouri was killed in a drone strike in the Lebanese capital, along with 6 other Hamas members. Israel has not acknowledged responsibility for the strike, but says all Hamas leaders are targets following the October 7th attack. Nasrallah also offered his condolences to Hamas following the killing of Saleh al-Arouri.
We offer our congratulations and condolences in our brother, the great commander, Sheikh Saleh, deputy head of the Hamas Movement Political Bureau, as well as his companions, the cadres and the commanders of Hamas, who fell as martyrs yesterday as a result of a blatant Israeli aggression against Beirut's southern suburb. On the same night where Haj Qasim and Haj Abu Mahdi also fell as martyrs. I offer my condolences to my brother Ismail Haniya and to all of our companions in the Hamas leadership, the Al-Qassam leadership, and Palestinian resistance factions, as well as the Palestinian people. I offer my condolences to Sheikh Saleh's noble family and to the noble families of all the martyrs who were with him and fell with him. I offer to them my condolences and my congratulations, and may God grant them patience and fortitude, and they have shown that.
Let's cross over to Zainab Khadr, our correspondent in Beirut, who is also listening in to Hassan Nasrallah's speech. 1 hour 20 minute speech, and address many issues that pertain to Hezbollah itself. But it was really at the end of his presentation that he really sort of talked about the situation in Gaza, as well as the attack in Beirut that has riled Hezbollah, and basically allowed him to quite clearly say that Hezbollah will retaliate on this attack on Beirut.
Well, yes, he said that this crime will not go unpunished. The assassination of Hamas's second-in-command, Saleh al-Arouri, who was killed in Hezbollah's stronghold. But at the same time, it was a very delicate balancing act that Hassan Nasrallah. First of all, he talked about the front in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is engaged in a low-intensity conflict with the Israeli army along that border. He is saying that it will continue. Both sides really have been calculating their attacks, ensuring that it doesn't become or trigger a full-blown conflict. He's saying that that will continue. But at the same time, he's saying that that doesn't mean Hezbollah is not ready for war, and that Israel, if Israel decides to launch a full-scale offensive, Hezbollah will fight back with its full military capabilities, and threatening the Israelis that they will pay a heavy price. But Hezbollah, Nasrallah also kept talking about strategic national considerations that each of the so-called resistance groups and this axis of resistance across the region have to take into account. And in Lebanon, Hassan Nasrallah knows that Israel can destroy this country. Israeli ministers have said that they will level Beirut, that they will level the southern suburbs of Beirut, where 500,000 people live. Yes, it's known as a Hezbollah stronghold, where Hezbollah has bases and offices, but it is also a residential neighborhood where 500,000 people live. Where will these people go? So in many ways, his hands are tied, but at the same time, reiterating that Hezbollah is not afraid of war, and that if it comes to that, it is ready to wage a confrontation.
Zaina, Hassan Nasrallah may not be afraid of war, but Lebanon might be as a country. I mean, what has the government said, if anything at all? They've remained pretty silent so far.
Well, the Lebanese Prime Minister has been holding contacts with Western governments. The United States, France, envoys have been visiting Beirut, shuttling between Israel and Lebanon to try to diffuse tensions. But at the end of the day, Hezbollah is stronger than the state. Hezbollah's army is stronger than the Lebanese army. Hezbollah takes decisions on its own, and it has gained opponents in this country who say that it is not up to the group to decide whether or not, Lebanon will be dragged into war. So a lot of people in Lebanon will be relieved that, at least on Hezbollah's part, there is no intention to trigger a wider conflict or expand the conflict that is now confined and contained to the border area. But at the same time, many people here feel that Israel is trying to drag Hezbollah to war. And it is something that Nasrallah was boasting about, that Israel was not able to restore security. And this is, a major blow to the Israelis. If you think about it, tens of thousands of Israelis cannot return to their homes in northern Israel or in southern Israel. So he said that is one of the achievements that the group has achieved, since engaging in conflict to try to help relieve its ally Hamas in Gaza. So Hezbollah promising a response. It didn't give any further details, but also reassuring in one way or the other that for the time being, the actions and the military operations in the south will remain calculated unless Israel changes the situation.
Zaina Khadr there for us in Beirut. Thanks very much for the update there, Zaina. Let's cross over to Tel Aviv now, as Saira Khairat is also standing by. And Saira, I have to say, I can't believe that Israeli officials weren't watching that Nasrallah speech. They would have been watching with great detail.
I'm sure they were watching it with great detail. We haven't had reaction, but in the same way, we didn't actually hear any claims, official claims from them for carrying out that assassination on al-Arouri in Lebanon yesterday. Now, what we do know is that, interestingly, the Israeli army chief has been visiting those northern commands on that border with Lebanon and saying that they are on high alert. We've known that since overnight, when we also heard it from the military spokesman Daniel Hagari, saying that they are ready for any possible scenario. How this will be taken here, it's yet to be seen. However, what we do know is that Israel has said time and time again that that all of those Hamas leaders will be killed. They'll go after them no matter where they are, not just in the Gaza Strip, but any other country as well. They said that it's not just a case of getting rid of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, not just militarily, but also politically. They want Hamas to not exist and that it wouldn't be able to function ever again or to ever carry out such an attack. And of course, they're keeping their eyes very closely on Hezbollah, because Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed group, has been launching attacks every single day since this war began on those northern border towns all along, from west all the way to the east, and said that they will continue to do so as long as the war in Gaza continues.
Sarah, in terms of your analysis about the troop movements in and out of Gaza, the reservists being rested before they are redeployed, is there going to be a recalibration, do you think, now by the Israeli government as to how many go back potentially into Gaza and how many might be redeployed north? I mean, it's now a case of a very serious conversation, most probably within the war cabinet, about where they deploy their strength.
Well, a discussion that was meant to be held yesterday as to what happens, what they call the day after the war in Gaza, was actually postponed as the news came out about Saleh al-Arouri. Now, we know that's been postponed supposedly till Thursday. Again, it was already postponed from last week after some of those in the ministry were up in arms about not being included in that discussion. But away from that, the redeployment of troops, them coming out, the reasons given was because of fatigue, needing to give some of them rest. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's because they're redeploying them to the north. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a few days ago in his statement sent out a stark warning to Iran and to the Iranian-backed groups, including Hezbollah as well as other countries, saying that they will ensure, if they have to fight back militarily, they will, and that if diplomatic efforts don't work, they will consider that. Tens of thousands of those troops have been lining that border for weeks. They are also have been training in a situation where an attack could happen. Now, Hezbollah, we know that they've been carrying out those attacks every single day. Whether they will step that up here, we don't know. But it could potentially not necessarily be on a full-scale war, but it could be potentially taken out in attacks elsewhere, not just in Israel, but in other countries, as we have seen previously in the past.
Sarah Kairat there for us in Tel Aviv. Thank you.